Making a mistake is not the end of the world, but that does not mean it won't break the bank. From losing an NSA orbiter in space to bad Apple, there are some mishaps that came with very hefty price tags. For those of you wondering what they are, here are the 10 most expensive mistakes ever made. Make sure you also check out these hilarious kid mistakes. Number 10. Lost in space. Most people lose their sunglasses or a set of keys, which is frustrating and, sure, can be costly. But in 1999, NASA lost a $125 million Mars orbiter because of what CNN referred to as a metric mishap. What happened? The mistake occurred because Lockheed Martin engineers used English measurements, inches, feet, etc., in their calculations, in contrast to NASA's metric calculations, centimeters, meters, etc. Because of this, navigation information couldn't properly transfer and the orbiter was lost. Number 9. Fight or flight. Air travel is expensive for customers looking to book a getaway, but it was in 2006 when the airline Alitalia found itself stuck with the bill when a typo on their website allowed for $39 flights from Toronto to Cyprus. It was supposed to read $3,900. Definitely one of the most expensive typos in the world. 2,000 tickets sold before Alitalia could correct the price online. Instead of fighting customers on their mistake, they chose to honor the cheap tickets to the tune of $7 million. Number 8. School funding mishap. Money can go a long way, especially when it comes to education. That's what made Race to the Top, a $4.35 billion educational grant from the U.S. Department of Education, so special. New Jersey was so close to getting that grant, until an application error led to them falling 3 points short of winning, according to NJ.com. Turns out when they were filling out the application, the administrators responsible used data from 2011 instead of 2009 as the application required. Number 7. Big dig. When an oil rig operated by Texaco drilled too far into the ground in Louisiana, it resulted in the collapse of salt pillars holding up Lake Peigneur. A sinkhole formed and the lake went from just 6 feet deep to a monstrous 200 feet. Texaco paid $44.8 million for the incredibly costly and troubling mistake. Number 6. Sizzling skyscraper. A London skyscraper nicknamed the walkie-talkie, designed by architect Raphael Vignoli, was originally notable for its unique shape, boasting curved eye-catching walls. Unfortunately, it became known for something much different when its south-facing wall, which is covered in reflective glass, began redirecting sunrays in such a way that was actually melting the cars and causing fires. Fixes for the problem included temporary netting and then a permanent sunshade that cost in the estimated low single-digit millions, according to the Standard. Number 5. Blockbuster mistake. In 2000, Blockbuster made the first mistake that would mark its demise. The company decided not to buy Netflix. Blockbuster considered buying the popular Netflix service for $50 million, but the company decided to not make the purchase. Netflix went on to become even more popular and more profitable than Blockbuster. Number 4. Train trouble. You can't fit a square peg into a round hole, and you really can't fit wide trains onto narrow railways. This was the lesson learned by SNCF, a French train company, after purchasing 2,000 trains for $20 billion. Turns out they were too wide to fit into the majority of train stations for which they were intended to travel. The company had to shell out another $68 million to widen train platforms in an effort to make the trains fit. Number 3. Bitcoin Blitz. While many of us are still trying to make heads or tails of Bitcoin, investing in the digital currency during its humble beginnings would prove to be a big payoff now. Sadly for James Howells, an IT worker in Wales, he lost his stash of 7,500 bitcoins when he trashed his hard drive. The collection would have been worth $127 million today, according to CNBC. These are the grammar mistakes editors hate the most. Number 2. High seas disaster. It's hard not to think of the sinking of the Titanic when considering the most expensive mistakes in history. In 1912, the monetary loss of the ship, which was on its maiden voyage when it sank, was $7.5 million. According to Business Insider, that would be the equivalent of $168 million today. This doesn't even account for the lives lost during the heartbreaking event. Number 1. Bad Apple. We've learned a lot about Apple founders Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak over the years, as the tech company changed the way we live and do business. But there was a third founder of the giant who at one time owned 10% of the company, and his name is Ronald Wayne. Wayne was an Apple founder for just 12 days before deciding to sell his share to Jobs and Wozniak for a mere $800. Unfortunate considering the company is worth $1 trillion, according to NBC News. Get ready to expand your knowledge, satisfy your curiosity, and be amazed by the world around us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel.